Welcome to another segment, a speaker spotlight for the Global Cash Summit, where we unapologetically are elevating the way entrepreneurs think, the way they lead, and the way they generate cash with confidence. Today, I have the absolute joy of introducing someone who represents the heartbeat of what this summit is about: strategic execution, clean leadership, and real world momentum. If you are tired of the noise, the overwhelm, the endless to-do lists that never become revenue, you are going to breathe differently after this conversation. Our guest is Tina Collura, award-winning business growth consultant, productivity coach, and founder of See Yourself Grow. For more than 15 years, Tina has been the partner entrepreneurs call when they're done being busy and finally are ready to grow. She has helped her clients triple their output and revenue without burnout, and her approach blends strategy, mindset, and implementation in a way that is incredibly rare. Tina, you are such an aligned fit for the Global Cash Summit, and I'm so grateful to have you here.
Oh, Cassandra, thank you so much for considering me, for reaching out. I am super excited to share my knowledge, my wealth of experience with all of your audience. So huge thank you for for hosting us and bringing us to this world.
Well, let's dive in. Tina, what initially inspired your work in business growth and implementation, and what sparked this calling for you?
So it has been a long journey for me. I started my business growth consulting coaching business back in 2008. I was a people leader, and I loved helping people identify what their strengths were, what removing the barriers, helping them understand that with intentional thought and intentional action, they could achieve so much more. So my inspiration came from watching incredibly talented entrepreneurs or just leaders work themselves into exhaustion, not because they lack skills, but because they lacked structure. Early in my career, I noticed a pattern. People are brilliant at what they do. They're wonderful. They set out with the greatest of intentions when they start their business, but they struggle with the right systems. Habits is a huge one, and decision making. That allow their business to scale or even their careers as leaders to elevate. So became fascinated with the question: what separates those who grow and sustainably versus those who burn out? I'm a people watcher, and so I always take what I want from different businesses and situations, and that's what helps me elevate my curiosity into a productivity science. And I put that all encompassing with my change management background and my strategic execution over the
Mm.
years. Yeah.
Wow, that resonates so deeply. These are the people. These are our people, right?
Yeah.
We talk about the gap between knowing and doing and how much money gets trapped in that gap. You know what you're really describing is the moment really when someone realizes, hey, it's not me, it's the system I'm operating inside of, and you help people build a pathway out of that. That is so beautiful. So in your experience, and also, you know what? One of the things that you said was just really hit home really well was about, what people often, when we're entrepreneurs, we're business entrepreneurs, we're solopreneurs, we are working in isolation and we are doing everything, and you're really hustling. There's just you next thing, got to get this thing done, got to get that thing done. It does not really leave time to think, and it is creating that space, that time to think where
Yeah.
creativity is allowed to come in. And then you're able to see sometimes a pathway forward that you never even thought of before. So, in your experience, what do most entrepreneurs misunderstand about growth or execution?
So, just to touch upon what you said, we don't give ourselves enough time for the creativity. That's one of the habits that I help my clients develop. It's the quiet time, right? Even if it's 30 minutes once a week, you need to be quiet with yourselves. Okay. You need to build in that time to ask yourself, what worked, what didn't work, what could I be doing differently and or better. So take that time.
Mm.
um, and then for your question, what do most entrepreneurs misunderstand about growth and execution? So, in my opinion, most entrepreneurs believe that growth is about doing more. Right, more tasks, more hours, more appointments, more hustle. But true growth isn't about doing more; it's about being strategic, right? So the biggest misunderstanding is thinking execution is simply about action, where execution is also about alignment, right? Aligning your energy, your priorities, your decisions to clear outcome, right? So when you have a clear vision and you have clear goals, you can work towards that, what activities you need to do to be in alignment with all of that. One of the things that I always do as my future self, I'm like, is this opportunity in alignment with my future 5 year plan, 10 year plan? Yay or nay, right? So being clear is really how leaders scale faster. And we need to stop chasing the activities and be masterful in the intentional activities that we're doing. So that's the difference between being you know, uh, an entrepreneur who's really aligned with their growth versus chasing the execution, the day-to-day activities, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And, also there's a lot of shame that entrepreneurs feel around this too, because they think their lack of progress might mean that they're not disciplined enough, when in fact they're simply operating without that execution infrastructure, and so you name that so powerfully, that you have to give yourself space and then have a plan and prioritize which are the important tasks to complete in what order. And so what is that one shift that creates the fastest momentum when implemented correctly for your business?
So I think the fastest shift is learning to make decisions through a productivity lens instead of an emotional one, right? As a business owner, as a leader, we have to listen to our emotions, but we need to quiet them, especially in a leadership or a business development role. So most leaders will hesitate or overthink, or they want everything to be perfect before they make a decision or before they move on. But when you reframe your decisions around impact, what moves the mission forward, right? That's when everything starts to accelerate. So if it's a shift from reactive action to strategic execution, that's what leaders need to start adopting, right? That immediate reduce of waste effort and increase in the confidence that they're making the right decision. And it's not always going to be perfect, and that's okay. But we need to be, again, intentional and make decisions quickly, but make them thoughtfully as well.
Mhm. It's
Yeah.
oftentimes like we say, just do it messy.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
do it messy, because the ultimate goal, what is the goal? The goal is this thing. This is the point of the arrow. This is where we're going. This is the important thing. And sometimes we get too caught up in the window dressing of it all.
Yeah.
And it's actually more authentic to just stay with the focus of what you're trying to do and release the pressure off of yourself that you have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
love that, because it's
Yeah.
almost like the nervous system exhales when that path becomes singular instead of scattered, and it really frees up that energy to actually move instead of constantly recalibrating. It's not good enough. I got to do this. I got to do that. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that you said that. So
Yeah.
can you share a client transformation that really represents your work at its best?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my favorite examples, Cassandra, was when a solopreneur reached out to me. They admitted to me that they were exhausted, they were overwhelmed, And the earning was inconsistent, right? So, despite all the working long hours and activities, she felt like she hit a proverbial glass ceiling. So we met, we talked about her business. I, did a whole consultation, observed, all of her structure and what was working, what wasn't working. So within the 90 days, where we implemented my productivity and growth framework, she went from feeling scattered to strategic effort. She tripled her income, doubled her client capacity, and most importantly, she felt like she had control over her business. And the funny thing is, every time we would meet, I would always keep track of her earnings or her increased client sales.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't even realize that she had doubled it and tripled her income. I had to point that out for her because she was still so go go go, right? So her results weren't from doing more. The results came from eliminating the waste. So I identified where she was wasting time, where she was wasting her energy. We upgraded her leadership habits, right? What are the habits that are going to strengthen her ability to be a leader in her own business? And then I taught her how to execute and how to create boundaries. And the boundaries I'm talking about, Cassandra, is the ones where you got to say no. Because as an entrepreneur, I think most entrepreneurs have ADHD and fear of missing out. So we need to be very aligned and intentional with the decisions that we're making, and not and be okay with it. And you know, we need to be gentle with ourselves, that I'm on the right path. I just need to dedicate my time and my energy to the right activities. And that's what this young lady did. So
Oh, that's extraordinary. Great results. Congratulations on that. And I appreciate how you emphasize that identity shift that she had. You know, when you're pointing out these things to her, she really got to step into CEO level clarity, right?
yeah.
So we talk about cash as an output of leadership, but when someone steps into that CEO level of clarity, the numbers inevitably follow. This is a beautiful example of what you do with people. And it was just so simple as to be kind to yourself and also see where you're maybe doing too much or where you get to say no. I love that.
Yeah.
This is just incredible information for our audience. I know that everybody's going to love this. So, Tina, what does epic growth look like in real life, not just in theory?
Oh, wow. Well, for me, epic growth isn't just about the numbers, the big numbers. It's about sustainable expansion, both mentally, operationally, and financially. In real life, epic growth looks like a leader, a business owner who stops micromanaging every little thing and starts delegating with confidence. A business needs to run on systems, right? Not chaos. And if the CEO, the owner, is scatterbrained and is not organized, that is going to trickle into the rest of the company, right? And to the team. So, as a CEO, you need to be strategic, right? Epic growth is when leaders evolve, right? When business owners evolve so that the business can finally scale as well. And it's not about perfection. We talked about this, build it in the air. I also say it's about consistency and being aligned with progress, and that compounds over time, and then the results will start to compound. So epic growth is about being consistent. Take small steps in the right direction, but always looking to elevate yourself and your business a little bit further every time, every year. And taking the time, like I said before, to do a look back on what worked, what didn't work. We need to analyze. So we can get so caught up in the day to day, Cassandra, that we don't make the time to identify what epic growth means for ourselves personally and for the business and for the team. We need to continue to do that.
That is such a grounded reframe. And I know our summit attendees need to hear that
Yeah.
because so many believe their business should feel like a sprint,
Mm,
when really that sustainable expansion feels really like a steady upward glide. I love the
yeah.
fact that you hold space for analysis, that we need to take that moment and really reassess what is happening here. Take that beat, take that breath, take that moment of silence so that
Yeah.
you can get out of the identity of the doing.
Mhm.
And so you can get that perspective that really is much higher up, right?
Yeah, like the bird's eye view, right?
Yes,
Like we need to like pull ourselves out of the whirlwind of the business
that's
every
right.
now and a lot of business owners have a hard time doing that, right? And that's where people like you and I come in, and we're up here and we could see things that they don't see.
And they can be
So
intentional. It
yeah.
can be an intentional thing. As you're saying right now, it's an intentional thing. You make it a point to do that. You create space in your business to make that a priority and you show them how to do that. I think that's great. And so finally, what do you most want summit attendees to walk away feeling or doing differently after your session?
Oh, absolutely. Great question. So I would love for attendees to walk away feeling empowered. If that could be one word that I want people to walk away with, it's empowered. To truly believing that their productivity isn't about squeezing more time into the day, but to elevate how they lead themselves, and how they lead their business. I want people to know that one thing that they could do differently is stop glorifying all the hustle and start prioritizing profit based productivity activities. So, when a business owner adopts that mindset, everything starts to change, their decisions, their energy, the results, and the bottom line. So, if they leave the summit with more clarity and more confidence, knowing exactly which behaviors will move them forward, then I've done my job.
Oh, powerful. And that speaks directly to the mission of the Global Cash Summit. So, cash grows in clean containers, and when you simplify, you multiply, and your work embodies that truth so elegantly. Tina, thank you.
Absolutely.
Your brilliance is so grounded, so implementable, and so deeply aligned with the heart of this summit. You really bring clarity where there's noise, you bring structure where there's overwhelm, and confidence where there's self doubt. So, for everyone watching, Tina will be leading both a main stage session and a VIP implementation experience during the Global Cash Summit. And I'm telling you right now, if you are ready to shift out of chaos, out of busy work, out of spinning plates, and into focused, profitable CEO level execution, you do not want to miss her trainings. Tina, we are so honored to have you, and to our viewers, your next level is built through the decisions you make today. So we will see you inside the summit.
Thank you.